Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about an DC motor. I am Janardhan, Assistant Professor, Interplay Department. Right. Today we are going to see what is DC motor, what are the types of DC motor, and what are the applications of a DC motor. We will see that today. Right. First, today we are going to discuss about the principle of a DC motor. Right. In the construction wise, both the DC motor and generator are same. It is also a field winding, it is an armature. What's the principle of DC motor? Means when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. Right? So that is the principle of DC motor. What is the force is coming from this is I would say the magnetic flux density and the current and the length of the conductor. F is equal to BIL. It's a force is used in Newton. What is the direction? The direction is to find out by means of Fleming's left-hand rule. Yeah, you see that. You see here, it's a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, so it experiences a mechanical force. So already a conductor is placed, we are passing a current in the conductor, so the magnetic fields of lines of force is also traveling from north pole to south pole. We are placing a conductor inside that, here also a current. So here there are two flux will be there, one is magnetic flux and current flowing in the conductor produces electric flux. Right? So two flux will interact with each other, what happens, the deviation will occur, so it turning and twisting when the force is happening, so it starts rotating, the motor starts rotating. So if you want to find out the direction, here it says Fleming's left hand rule, all the three fingers are kept perpendicular to one another, right? The thumb represents the direction of force of a conductor and the middle finger represents the direction of magnetic field and third finger represents the direction of current. You see that here north pole and south pole, the magnet is there, we are placing a conductor there, so the magnetic lines of force is traveling from north pole to south pole. You see that when you are passing a current, so there is an electric flux is also there, it makes the main flux to deviate. So what happens, so this is causes a twisting movement, so it comes in the form of rotation. This is the principle of DC motor, right? So what are the main parts of the DC motor? DC motor is having yoke, pole and pole shoe and field winding and armature and commutator and carbon brushes. Yoke is the body, the constructional body. So next one, pole shoe. Pole shoe only we are going to place the poles. Poles is nothing but north pole, the south pole, the field magnets. We are going to place that one. Right here. It is already owned with a coil, that is nothing but field winding. In field winding is also we are having two types, armature winding, that is lap winding and wave winding. Armature is nothing but a group of conductors inside the field winding. So commutator means it is used to convert an AC into a DC. Because it is DC motor, actually what we are producing is AC. So for conversion, so we are going for a commutator. Carbon brushes actually in generator it is used to collect the current, but in a motor it is used to supply the current, because in motor we are going to convert electrical energy is converted into mechanical energy, right? So in generator also carbon brushes will be there. Commutator will not be there in AC generator, because commutator main purpose is used to convert an AC into a DC. Let's see one by one. See the main parts of this one. First one, this is nothing but yoke or frame. This one is a yoke or frame, and this one is a main field pole. Here you will see that this is called as field winding. Field is wind out of the coil. And next one is nothing but armature. You see this is armature. In between that is a slots is there. This is nothing but an armature. Here you see that in between these two, it is having a slot. In slot we are placing some conductors also. Here you see that commutator segments will be there. Commutator is nothing but here we are going to transform what is in the AC, the second half cycle to the positive half cycle. Its done will be here. Then it will be a shaft, because in motor, mechanical shaft, rotor is a shaft. So shaft only we are going to connect with the load. Then next one is the foundation bolt and the bed plate. Right? So it's a yoke or body. You see that even number of poles are bolted. It is made up of cast iron. What we are doing is cast iron or cast steel for small machines. For big machines, it will be rolled steel we can use. It produces magnetic flux. That pole and pole shoes. Poles are placed in the pole shoes actually to support the field coil and to spread the flux over a large area. Next one is field winding. Field winding, we are having a series field winding and shunt field winding. Here we can say in types of DC motor, we are having series motor, shunt motor and compound motor. The winding is connected in series, that is called as series winding. If the winding is connected in parallel, that is called as a shunt field winding. It is used to control the flux actually. Right? You see there, a series field windings are filled with a few turns of thick wires of large cross-sectional area and connected as always in series with the series with the armature. The shunt field are wound with many turns of fine wire and are always connected in parallel with the armature. Right? So we have two types of winding. One is lap winding, another one is wave winding. Here in wave winding, where we can use means in wave winding it is used in the machines where low current and high voltage are required. Low current and high voltage. Where we require high voltage, so we can go for wave winding. And lap winding is used in low voltage and high current. So wherever you need low voltage and requires high current, we will go for lap winding there. So commutator I already told it is converted to negative half cycle to a positive half cycle. So if it is a DC motor, so we have to convert it into DC. So commutator is a device to convert an AC into a DC. Next, carbon brushes. As I already told, carbon brushes is used to collect the current from the generator. In a motor, it is used to feed the current to the motor. Right? So we are having different types of DC motor. One is a shunt motor, another one is series motor, another one is compound motor. Then in compound, we are having two types. One is cumulative compound, another one is differential compound. Let's see a shunt motor. Here in shunt motor, you see that the winding is connected in parallel with the armature. We can say it is a constant motor because the flux is maintained constant throughout the operation. So that is called shunt motor. You see a series motor, here the winding is connected in series with the armature. What happens whenever the load is changing, motor load is changing, the current flowing through the series field winding is also changes. So what happens? It creates a series flux. Though here the flux is directly proportional to the load current. So what happens? Whenever the load increases, the flux is also correspondingly increases. When the flux increases, torque is proportional to pi into Ia. Here flux is directly proportional to Ia. The torque is proportional to Ia square. So the starting torque will be very good in the series motor. Right? Next one is in the compound motor. Compound motor is a mixture of both series and shunt. We are having both cumulative compound and differential compound. Cumulative compound means we are adding up both the series field winding and shunt field winding are added together. Here in differential compound both are subtracted together. So here the flux will be more, here the flux will be less. Right? We know that N is proportional to EB by pi. When the flux is increasing, we are losing the speed. Right? At the same time, when the flux is increasing, we are getting the starting torque. Torque is proportional to pi into Ia. When the flux increases, we are getting a high starting torque. When the flux is here in the case reduced, what happens? We are losing the starting torque, but the speed can be increased. Right? So then next one is a back EMF. Without back EMF, we cannot start the motor. I already told, because high starting current will be there. Because every motor we need a help of starter. Why starter is required? Starter is used to initialize the starting current with a reduced voltage. So what happens? There is no back EMF. You see that here the current equation Ia is equal to V minus EB divided by RA. RA is nothing but armature resistance. EB is nothing but back EMF. VA is armature voltage. So its armature resistance generally it is 0.5 ohms. Suppose for example we are using a 230 volt motor. 230 volt is applied. Right? That is back EMF is 0. 230 divided by 0.5. It's like coming under 460 amps. But the motor cannot withstand such high current because it is designed for 12 amps or 15 amps. If 460 amps is coming, what happens? The coil gets burned, the motor will get damaged. So in order to protect the motor, we have to always start the motor with a reduced voltage, with a reduced starting current. So we can use different types of starters, 2-point starter, 3-point starter and 4-point starter. 2-point starter means it is used in series motor and 3-point starter is used in shunt motor and 4-point starter is used in compound motor. We will see in next. So Ia. So what happened here? See that the back EMF is 0, the current rating will be go high. So we have to create the back EMF. How to create the back EMF? So the back EMF is created by regulating that slowly we are gradually increasing according to Lenz's law, because this motor load is nothing but RLE load. Resistance, inductance and battery will be there. Inductance is having the property of storing the energy. So when we are supplying a voltage, what happens? The inductor will store the voltage. Once the capacity is reached, it reverts back according to the Lenz law. What Lenz law states, whenever an EMF is induced, the induced EMF in such a direction as to oppose the change inducing the current. So according to Lenz law only, the back EMF is created. How it is created? It is created by means of armature voltage only. So the opposition force is created, so the net is reducing here, so you get the reduced armature current here. Right? Next one is torque. Yeah, torque is very important, because if we are discussing about a motor, the torque and speed are very important. Because for example, the buses are there, trains are there. So what happens? We have to carry the entire load. Whether so many bogies are connected or so many people are sitting there, we have to move the entire load. That is nothing but torque. Here your torque is two types. One is load torque, another one is armature torque. Load torque means what is the load we are applying. So people are sitting, that are treated to be a load. So that is nothing to be a load torque. So if I want to pull the people, 50 people sitting in a bus, so I need to create an armature torque that should be greater than the load torque. Then only I can move forward. If load torque is greater than the armature torque, we cannot move forward. So when we as a design engineer, when we are designing a motor, the armature torque should always greater than the load torque. Right? So torque is proportional to, we know that, flux into armature current. Right? So here, flux into armature current. We have so many internal parameters are there. What are the varying parameters means? I can vary only the flux, I can vary only the armature current. So flux means we have series field winding, we will get more flux. In shunt field winding, we are getting constant flux. In differential compound motor, we can adding up and subtracting together. So based upon that, the torque will be varied. And a very good example, if you see a train in olden days, it will be started with so many bogies are connected. So the train has to pull the heavy load. So we need a high starting torque. When the high starting torque is required, we will go for a series motor. Once the time the entire load is picked up, we are moving forward. What happens? The speed is gradually increasing. That means that it is connected to shunt motor. Next one is losses and efficiency. So what are the types of losses is happening in the DC motor? We know that the types of losses is nothing but core loss, another one is copper loss, another one is friction and windage losses are happening. So why we are discussing about the losses? When we are calculating the efficiency, the losses will be coming to the important, right? So efficiency. Efficiency means output power by input power. So output power is nothing but what? Input plus losses. Input plus losses. So we have to reduce the losses. When the losses are minimized, the efficiency can be improved. Right? So armature copper loss is nothing but I square RA loss. So in shunt motor, the field copper loss based on the field winding, shunt, series and compound. Then losses is happening in the brushes also. We are using a carbon brushes. Approximately 2 volt gets dropped in the brushes also. You see that iron frictional losses. Here frictional iron losses is nothing but core losses because it is happening in the core. Here it includes hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. In frictional losses, what are the mechanical parts? This friction happening means in the bearing, in the brush friction and the windage rotating machines, the friction is happening. Right? So here the power stages of a DC motor is divided into 3 categories. One is electrical power input, another one is driving power, another one is mechanical power. We see here this is A, B, C. Right? So this is the input given to the motor. Input is given nothing but electrical energy, so voltage and current. Right? When we are giving an input, what happens in the motor? We are creating a driving power. Driving power is nothing but back EMF into armature current. So in the what is happening inside the armature? In the armature, we are losing some losses. That is nothing but copper losses in between A and B. So actually, this is the driving power. You can say the armature torque is developed here. So when it comes to shaft, that is called as shaft torque. Shaft torque is always less than the armature torque. Shaft torque is always less than the armature torque. So in between this, because the iron and frictional losses will be there. So
If I want to find out the efficiency C by A, you can say output by input, right? If I want to find copper losses, the stage by stage, you can go for A minus B. If I want to friction losses, B minus C. If I want to overall efficiency, C by A, based upon that, output by input. Mechanical efficiency means C by B, that is a third stage by second stage. The electrical efficiency means second stage divided by first stage. Next one, it is a characteristics. Characteristics is very important because wherever you go, because we are not designing the motor, we are designing the motor to take up a particular load, It is a very important thing to know the characteristics of the motor. Characteristics means I am giving current and voltage as an input. The characteristics means what? Torque and speed. Because for example, for a motor, for example, two-wheelers and all, for lifts, cranes, everything, what is the thing we are going to do? The load, that is very important. So based upon the load, we can use the motor can be designed. So the characteristics is very important. If you are going for some constant speed operations, for example, lathe, drill and printing press and driving pumps, so we can use a constant speed. So constant speed, which motor should be given? The constant speed is given by shunt motor because the field winding is placed, you see that the field winding is connected in parallel. So here whatever the supply is given, so the current is divided into two currents. One is armature current, another one is field current, right? The field current is a parallel operation. The field current is continuous, constantly maintained. The flux is maintained constant. When the flux is maintained constant, N is proportional to EB by pi. When the flux is constant, what happens? The speed is also maintained constant. So it is called as constant speed motor. So whatever the change in the load, only there is a small change in the armature current only. There is not much effect in the field current. So when there is no much effect in the field current, so generally we know the motor means we keep on loading, what happens? The speed will be reduced. Because the field winding is connected in parallel, even though we keep on increasing the load, there is no much difference in the speed because of field winding is connected in parallel here. But it is not the case in the series motor because the series field winding is connected in series with the armature. Whenever the load increases, the current increases. That means the current flowing through the series field winding is also increases. What happens? The flux is also increases. So correspondingly, the speed will vary. Right? So we see here how it is happening. The characteristics. This is called as, you can say, internal characteristics. Internal characteristics. What is happening inside the machine? Inside the machine means the torque and the armature current. When the armature current keeps on increasing, what happens? The torque is also gradually increasing. So it's nothing but torque is proportional to pi into Ia. Pi into Ia means when the armature current increases, when the flux is constant, torque is proportional to Ia. Ia increases, the torque is also increases. This torque is nothing but armature torque and this torque is nothing but shaft torque. This torque is nothing but shaft torque. You can see that the shaft torque is always less than the armature torque. Next we can see the internal characteristics. So what is happening in between the speed and the armature current. So we see that armature current here is flowing. In the shaft only we are going to connect a load. So when the load increases, the armature current is keep on increasing. When the armature current is keep on increasing, we see that armature current is keep on increasing. There is no much change in the speed. It is not varying that much. At a certain stage, for example, if you are maintaining 1500 RPM, it is going to 1480 or 1475. It does not fall in speed that much when compared to series motor and all. Next one, you see torque speed characteristics, or you can say this is a mechanical characteristics, or you can say this is a external characteristics. What happens? When the torque is keep on increasing, the speed will be reduced because we know that torque is proportional to pi, but the speed is inversely proportional to pi, flux. So what happens? So we are changing the flux, so it will be affect. The torque is increasing, the speed is decreasing. Right? Next one is a series wound. You see that this motor, if we see a shunt motor, the shunt motor can be operated without load. Because we are maintaining a constant speed, we are starting it gradually by means of a 3-point starter, so it will be done. But in a series motor, we should operate the motor with load only. Why we should start with load? Because with load, we know that N is proportional to EB by pi, right? At the time of starting, when the flux is very minimum, the speed will be very high. Because here in series motor, you see that the field winding is connected in series. So whatever the load is given, the load current is increasing, the current flowing in the series field winding is also, series field winding is also increasing. So flux is also increasing. If I am not connected with the load, what happens? There is no current is flowing in the series field winding, or we can say that the flux is very less. So N is proportional to EB by pi. When the flux is less, what happens? The speed will be very high. Speed will be very high. So to avoid that speed will be very high, so we have to start the motor with the load. Right? So we are operating with the load, so the flux can be controlled. When the flux can be controlled, the speed can be achieved here. Here, torque is proportional to pi into Ia here. Here we see that here the series flux depends upon the armature current. So armature current means here torque is proportional to Ia square times. So starting torque will be very good. If they ask which motor is having high starting torque, means series motor is having high starting torque. High starting torque motor is nothing but a DC motor. When we come here, you see that this is the internal characteristics curve drawn between torque and armature current. You see the difference based upon the armature current increases. This is nothing but torque is proportional to Ia square. So it is armature current is 2, the torque is changed to 4. Correspondingly, it will increase. So see the internal characteristics. Here also, when the armature current is keep on increasing, that is the armature current, the load is keep on increasing. We see here the speed will be fall down. It is not like in the case of shunt motor. The shunt motor, we are always maintaining a constant speed here, right? You see in a series motor, it is not like the case, right? When your load is keep on increasing, we are losing the speed, right? But starting torque is developed. When the torque is increasing, the speed will be dropped down. Where we can use this kind of motor means for lifting machines, for rolling machines, wherever we need high starting torque, for punching machines, for presses, and all we are using this one. Right? Next one is characteristics of compound motor. Compound motor is nothing but it's a mixture of both series and shunt field. We are having a long shunt, another one is called short shunt. We can say that is a cumulative compound, another one is differential compound. We see these two field windings are connected together. Right? So you see a different characteristics here also, the torque speed characteristics, here also for a torque current characteristic. You see how it is operating in the series motor, how it is operating in the shunt motor, how it is operating when the two fluxes are added together, how it is operating when the two fluxes are subtracted together. Right? So this is nothing but the whole characteristics of a DC motor. Based upon the applications where we need the current changes, whether we need high starting torque or whether the current changes, the starting torque, the torque should be reduced. Based upon the application, we can design a motor. Decide which motor should be used here. Right? So you see the torque speed characteristics also. We see one here, when the current increases, the differential torque is decreasing here. At the same time, you see in torque speed, the differential, the speed is increasing. That means here we see the losing the torque, here the speed is increasing and inversely proportional to that one. Yeah, next one is speed control. How to control the speed of the motor? Whatever there, we have some control mechanism to control the motion, right? So speed control of DC motor. We know the general equation, N is equal to EB by pi. EB is nothing but E minus IA RA divided by pi. So how to control the speed of the motor? The speed of the motor can be controlled by means of armature voltage, or flux control method, or we can say resistance control method, armature resistance control method. So N is proportional to V, directly proportional to V, it's indirectly proportional to flux. So what we are going to do? You see that? So there are three types. One is flux control method, another one is armature resistance control method, another one is armature voltage control method. Here the Ward-Leonard. Ward-Leonard is the most used speed control method when compared to armature voltage control method and armature resistance control method and flux control method. Why Ward-Leonard control method is used? We see that in Ward-Leonard we are controlling both the flux and the armature voltage, because we have to change the speed less than the base speed also, above than the base speed also. Less than the base speed means, suppose the base speed is designed for 1500, I have to operate 100 rpm, 200 rpm gradually. So how the 1500 rpm is reached? When I keep on changing the voltage, right? For example, 230 volt will be there. I am changing to 115 volt. It will be going to 750 rpm. So if I give a 230 volt, so it will be run at 1500 rpm. So n is proportional to V. After that, we cannot increase the voltage. So what happens means the speed is not controlled above the base speed. So if I want to control above the base speed, I have to reduce the flux. You know that n is proportional to Eb by pi. When the flux is reducing, the speed will go very higher. But there is a limitation for these two speed controls. One is armature voltage. Armature voltage means we cannot go beyond 230. The motor is designed. If you go beyond the 230 also, there is nothing is happening because the winding, everything is designed for that one only. If you go for a flux control method, the flux is gets saturated at a certain period. We cannot go beyond that one, right? So these are the two limitations of this one. Main thing is we can go for wide range of speed control in Ward-Leonard. Where we are using means we are using in hoist load trains and reversing mills. We are using this Ward-Leonard system, right? You see here, this is a bus bar actually. Bus bar means the supply. We are taking the supply from there. Here we can see we are using a two motor. One is nothing but a fixed motor, and this motor is coupled with a generator, and this is I am going to control. Controllable motor. You see this motor means I have to give an electrical input. How I am giving electrical input, as I already told, you see here there are carbon brushes will be there. Through carbon brushes only I am giving a supply. When the carbon, what happens? When the electrical energy is given, it is converted into mechanical energy. So mechanical shaft, the shaft is given as the prime mover to the generator. What happens in the generator? In the generator, the mechanical energy, what is the speed of a motor, right? Correspondingly, the torque will be produced. So input driving torque will be given. So based upon that, the output voltage will be there, right? We know that the generated voltage is proportional to Eg is proportional to pi. Here we know that n is proportional to Eb by pi, right? You see here also the shunt field winding will be there. If I put some variable field, what happens? I can control the speed of a DC motor. When I am controlling the speed of the DC motor, I can control the input given to the generator, right? When I am changing the input given to the generator, the output of the generator is also changes. N is proportional to V, right? Our voltage generator also is changing. So at the same time, the generator is also controlled by field excitation. Field excitation means whether to operate field in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, the flux. This depends upon the current is going. You see that here reversing switch will be there. When the switch is connected here and here, when I am varying the rheostat, what happens? Maximum resistance will be there, the minimum current will flow. There is a minimum flux. When the minimum resistance will be there, the maximum current will be there, so maximum flux will be there, right? So I can change the reverse the switch also. When I am reversing the switch, I can change the direction also. Whether I can move forward direction and backward direction. All the control action, the entire control action is controlled by means of this generator. So this is given as the input. You see here, generator is also I am taking here. The carbon brushes is used to collect the current I have told. From the brushes only we used to collect the current and it is given as the input to the motor. So this motor speed is only going to change. Here is called variable voltage and variable flux, right? So we are giving here is variable voltage. If I want to control these flux also, I can I can control by means of shunt field. By regulating this one also I can control. So the main motor speed can be changed. And it is used in cranes, hoists and elevators. Yeah, this is the necessity of starter. As I already told, necessity of starter, if we are not using a starter, the back EMF is 0, the current rating is going to 6 to 7 times of the rated current. So what happens? The motor will get damaged. So we have to start the motor with a reduced current and reduced starting voltage. Yeah. This is nothing but 3-point starter. We see a 3-point here. This is the 3-point line. You can say this field. This is because it is connected to the field. This is called as connected to the armature. Right? 3-point means line, field, armature. Right? So you see that the DC supply is given. This switch is called DPST switch, double pole single through switch. When I am closing this one, it will be closed. You see that when it is closed, the current is flowing through the line. Right? This is called OLR. It is nothing but overload relay coil. Overload relay coil. So the current is flowing in the coil. So when the coil gets energized, you see here, this is nothing but spring. So the handle will be there. Here it is nothing but maximum resistance. Maximum resistance means what? Minimum current will be flow. Maximum resistance means at the time of starting, now it is in the off condition. I am not connected to the stud. This is called stud. Right? We can say this stud 1, stud 2, stud 3, stud 4, I am stud 5, stud 6 like that. So when it is in the off position, when I am connected to this one, what happens? This resistance is connected, the circuit is closed. This point is connected here means it is in the on condition, right? Maximum resistance will be there. So the less current, you see here, on condition, armature current will flow. You see here. You see here, on condition, where it will go here to the armature. It will go to the armature. Where it is coming? It is coming from the line. After the overload relay coil, it goes to the spring. The spring action, we have to move against the spring. We are moving against the spring. When it is come this position, it is in the off position. When I touch it should be the on condition, but it will be a maximum resistance. So maximum resistance means minimum current only flowing through this one. Minimum current only flowing through this one. When slowly cutting down, I am moving this handle. Here the soft iron piece will be there. So what happened? Soft iron piece. You see here. Here also the solenoid will be there. Here the current is flowing. When the current keep on increasing, when I am moving from this position to this position, the resistance is cut down. So the current flowing in this is keep on increasing. When the current increasing, what happens? We say the electromagnet is keep on increasing, right? So magnetic properties keep on increasing. So it is going to attack the soft iron piece here. So when I am moving towards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After cutting down all the resistances, the resistance is cutting down, what happened? The current will be increased. So at the time of starting, I am starting with the reduced current. So what happened? Here now it gets electromagnet, the soft iron piece gets attracted here. That means this handle is going to come to this position. Right? So what happened if there is no power supply? If there is no power supply, what happens? There is no current is flowing through here, electromagnet. So what happens? When there is no current in the flowing in the electromagnet, what happens? It will be release this. It will be releases the soft iron piece. It will come to off position. It will come to the off position. So you see here. Here also the field winding is connected. The field winding, you have to adjusting the current. The field winding will be, because this is called a shunt motor, we are maintaining a constant flux will be there, right? Whenever the overload is increased, we will be change that one, or we can make it to cut it here also from this to avoid the damage to the machine. So this is nothing but 3-point starter. Discuss that one. Here the 4-point starter will be there. Here also it is used in compound motor. The same principle it is also working. You see here the 4-point is nothing but line, field, armature, and one more point is neutral here. Right? So actually 4-point starter, no need of 4-point starter also, the 3-point starter itself is working under the principle, right? Okay, thank you.